welcome to the Square Base Show with your host, Robert Val. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Grand Cathay.
It's a Grand Cathay Day, Rob!
Hello, everybody. It's also Val's birthday. Happy birthday to you, buddy.
Happy birthday to me. Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate it. You know what? Have a birthday yourself. Why don't you?
Yeah,
You can have a birthday too. We'll tag team it.
It also feels like Old World's birthday because the launch of the first brand new army into the Old World for, well, you know, what I'm fancy about Old World, a decade? Is that what we're saying? Is it longer?
More. We should have probably looked up when Ogre Kingdoms came out, but I want to say it's like 04-ish.
It's time for the comments. Let us know.
That's it. We're getting you involved early, guys.
Okay. So this is really exciting, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of stuff. There's it's not necessarily massive because the Grand Cathay Arcane Journal is actually more a Grand Cathay, your Grand Army composition. And we've already been told in a Warhammer community article yesterday or today that we will be seeing very soon a second Arcane Journal, although I guess that would be the Arcane Journal, and this is the Grand Army composition.
Little double dip, Robbo. Little double dip. We're getting this this little pamphlet and a double pamphlet. I mean, why have 100-page book when you can have 2 30-page books?
Yeah,
or 2 50-page books. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, this book is packed with art as well. And I know you're all frothy to get straight into the rules, but before we do, very quickly, if you're based around the North America region, Val, you've got the opportunity to go to an event, right?
That's right, or an airport. I just wanted to announce that tickets are on sale for the Square Based Open Toronto. It's going to be October 18th and 19th. Might have said the wrong dates last time. You can hit the link in the description. It'll be run right through BCP. Check it out, but let's get on to Cathay.
Okay, super exciting times. I'm looking forward to that. I might be popping up, so let us know. Okay, so Grand Cathay. There's some quick notes that I've made for everybody to let you know. There's a special character in here. There's 3 customizable types of characters, one of which, the Longma. Hey, listen, if you're looking for some early order tips, Longma, double Longma. I'm saying it.
Long on Longma. We're going long on Longma.
I actually can't remember the army composition. That might not be accurate. 2 core choices, one of which is mandatory. 2 war machines, a behemoth, and whatever the hell a lantern is. 2 spell laws, a bunch of magic items, how dragons work, and just a very exciting, maybe the most invigorating thing we've seen for the Old World. Val, you got any hopes and dreams for another human-based army that, you know, goes up against kind of your first love, which is Empire?
Yeah, right. I mean, everyone kind of loves playing human. Well, I don't know. I just said everyone. I like playing humans. I always like playing the folks that look like me. So having another human faction, I actually don't think is boring. I think it's awesome. Grand hopes for it. Well, one would be, how do they dodge the sameness, right, between Empire and Cathay? So how do we draw a distinction now? Or even you can throw the Bretonnians in there too, soon to be Dogs of War. How do we get, you know, flavor differences and like actual gameplay mechanics that make them feel meaningfully different? Because we know we've got some pretty mean looking rank and flank infantry, and we've got some pretty awesome looking artillery and a balloon and stuff. But we also have cool monsters and statues and things. So maybe we can get some differentiation there. But I'm excited.
I'd like to initially apologize to the French for just, you know, not thinking of them as human because of Bretonnians. I just completely forgot about Bretonnians. Okay, that wasn't on purpose. That's just, you know, a natural born English bias. I apologize about that.
Yeah, your British is showing here. With doesn't often show, but just only when the French come up, which is too bad. They have you know, a lot of Old World players in France, Rob. Maybe we should start healing these ancient wounds. I mean, Napoleon has been gone for some time now.
The last piece of context, actually, for everyone is that there's 2 other massive publications, or one more publication and one piece of context, which is really going to change maybe how some of our like hot takes will be. So maybe we won't get too nitty gritty into like how this might work. Well, we will get into it, but like, you know, that is optional to change because we're about to get a new mission set in the upcoming book, which we are going to review very soon. And in addition, there's the much rumored and vaunted FAQ, which is maybe going to have some very massive changes to how the game works. So those are some context points that you really need to think about before we get on the hype train that is Grand Cathay. So worth thinking about.
And like also, if we see some stuff in here that might be a bit spicy, it's not beyond the pale to think that like changes to core rules or buffs to factions might, make that relative power gap a little different. I suspect there'll be a lot of Empire players in the comments talking about like, well, phooey, why is my guys like this? And fair enough. But there also might be your classic day one FAQ related to how this book was written. We have no idea. We'll take it as it lies right now and see how it strikes us.
So time to get on with the hype. So the first thing that we are going to look at are the Grand Army special rules, Grand Cathay special rules, and these are pretty exciting. So the first one, which I think is going to make a ton of other armies very mad, is Celestial Forged Armor. If you're new, then this will be your first experience. For everyone else, it's Chaos Armor from Warriors of Chaos or Beasts of Chaos now as well. Model this special rule has a ward save against any wounds suffered. The armor value of this ward save is shown in brackets after the name of this special rule, shown here as X+. In addition, a wizard with this special rule may wear this armor without any penalty. Pretty good. Very good. You can obviously do this in conjunction, weirdly, also with other magic armor. It's kind of a special rule about armor versus being its own magical armor. So this basically means if you get a ward save on the Longma, it's going to be like a 5+, but it also means your wizards are also going to be very tough as well. They're going to, or at least going to have a good armor save and also have a ward save. So, I mean, this is already very game warping in many ways, but it means if you're getting into Cathay, the very first thing that me and Val do when we talk about an army, we're like, has he got a level 4? Yes. Well, now your level 4 has got an armor save and a ward save built into its points cost, which is huge.
So one thing here, though, I'm not seeing is that the armor save isn't built into this one, right? Because I think Chaos Armor does usually have the armor built in. I might be talking out of my butt.
So just to be clear, so everyone understands, what this does mean is that you will get your armor save via whichever source you gain it, but you'll also gain a ward save and have wizards with access to being able to have armor. So it's exactly the same as Warriors of Chaos. So this is good. You're getting into the army. Very exciting. You excited?
I mean, that is a great thing to have. The ability to wear armor as a wizard is still fairly rare. I guess Beastman got it in their Arcane Journal, and now we have it as a general rule for Cathay. Pretty cool. Does make them a little bit more defensible on the table, which is great.
Absolutely. The next one, Master of the Elemental Winds. It's once per turn a wizard within your army that has this special rule, and that is within 6 inches of one or more friendly wizards that also have this special rule may apply +1 modifier to its casting roll. Now, this is one of those things that's even more interesting with the potential changes coming up to how casting works for wizards. There's a big disparity between level 2s and level 4s, and we've heard that there might be some narrowing of those changes, and getting pluses to cast might be really big in the future. So that actually could be even more impactful with the upcoming changes.
Yep. And second rule in, and we're already seeing sort of that, aura based effect. You could maybe have a yin and a yang here. I believe those are the two lores we're going to see in a little bit. And also glad that they wrote very clearly in here that it's one or more. So you only ever get the +1. You can't go higher than that. So at least it is range bound a little bit, which is great. Okay, we've got Will of the Dragons. A unit with this special rule may re-roll a failed panic test when a friendly unit is destroyed whilst within 6 inches of it, or when it is fled through by a friendly unit. Okay.
Good. We love that. I personally think it's good. Also, Will of the Dragon is going to come up again as well in the next rule, which I actually love. So, if you've never played it, if you ever played this army in Total War, it's all about the flow of the yin and the yang, which is obviously very thematic as well. And to represent this in the rules, you have the Elemental Wind special rule. During each of their start of turn subphases, a Grand Cathay player rolls a d6 to determine which of the elemental winds blow the strongest. On a 1 to 3, you get yang. On a 4+, you get the yin, which is very cool. You could give yourself some little tokens or something, do something, maybe flip a token. So, what happens? Well, with the winds of Yang, until the start of your next turn subphase, wizards with the Law of Yang special rule increase their dispel range and the range of any enchantment spells they know by 3 inches. Any enchantment spells, not just from that law. So if you know enchantment spells from somewhere else, you'll still get +3 inches to range. Pretty good.
Yes.
In addition, all friendly models within the Will of the Dragon, all friendly models with the Will of the Dragon special rule gain one of the following modifiers: +1 movement, great for charges. If you have some sort of, I don't know, like a monster like a dragon, or a Longma, that's pretty nice. And then +1 initiative.
That seems good. And this is just baked in for all grand armies, all Grand Cathay, every turn.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on the Winds of the Yin, until the start of next turn subphase, wizards with the Law of Yin special rule increase the range of hex or magic missile spells they know by 3 inches. In addition, all friendly models with the Will of the Dragon special rule gain one of the following modifiers: +1 weapon skill, +1 leadership, which, by the way, leadership in this army is great. Our main character's leadership 10, our Longmas are 9, so we're going to be up to a 10 there, so really solid in that situation. I like this, that they're really good bonuses. The bonuses are split out, and you don't get to determine like what the bonus is going to be. So you can't necessarily you could be like, oh, hopefully I'm going to get the ability to cast Fireball a little bit longer. Oh no, I didn't get it. So it's not guaranteed, but it is very good.
Yeah. And I think, those are broad enough that, in most cases, something's going to be useful. And it's not like you're getting one benefit. I mean, you're getting additional range. You're getting characteristic buffs. It's a nice package, and you're getting it every single turn. That's pretty sweet. So we need to make sure we're paying attention to who has Will of the Dragons, so that we can see where this actually applies,
and also which of the like spell laws they've chosen. Because like you can choose between, or in some cases you can know both. So I like that. Like obviously a heavy focus on magic, which kind of does help to differentiate this army a little bit out from Empire, who obviously for some reason hate wizards. Narratively, they haven't been taught magic yet. That's what it is. And then also Bretonians as well. Not quite, but you know what I mean. Like there's a nice change here, but not anything too heavy-handed at the moment.
And lore-wise too. I mean, we saw in the almanac, and we'll double back for a lore episode as well on Cathay, going into what they've provided with us. But if you look at one of the almanacs, they do talk about how Cathay itself is, as opposed to the in the old world where magic is sort of bottled up, it's sort of a taboo thing. I think at the best of times in Cathay, it flows all around us and it unites everything, right? So like it is knitted into the society and the culture. So I think it's kind of neat that they, benefit broadly from the winds of magic. However, I do have this little thing that I want to say, which is that I am based on the Celestial Forge armor, which is just chaos armor, and with all of the magic that's going on, and with how they're immediately presented as so nice and good and awesome, I just immediately think they're chaos.
So next up, we're going to look at the spell laws, and there are 2 signature spell laws. Now, if you're new to the old world, the way this works is when you choose wizard, you gain access, or they have options on which spell law you would choose from. But also you can normally drop some of those spells, and you can then replace them for some of the spells in the signature spell laws, and you've got 2 to choose from. Also, these obviously tie in with the army special rules, and if you do take the special character, Val, who is called
Miao Ying.
Nailed it. If you take the special character, you are going to be able to gain access to both simultaneously, which is very cool. Otherwise, you're going to be locked into one or the other if you take the Shugengan Lord. Okay. So Laura Yang. The first one, the Constellation of the Dragon. This is a magic missile that's casting either 7 or 11 plus, and its range is 18 inches. If this spell is cast with a casting result of 7 or more, the target enemy suffers d6 +1 strength 4 hits with an AP of dash. If this spell is cast with an 11 or more, the target enemy unit suffers 2d6 +2 strength 4 hits with an AP of 1 at 18 inches. What do you think?
That seems ludicrous. Very good.
Also,
so that's a signature. That is an excellent magic missile. Range is a little low. I mean, it's 18, but okay. Worst case scenario, d6 +1 strength 4 hits if you get it off.
It's fine.
On 11 plus, assuming +4 to cast. I mean, yeah, I guess it's high, but it's gonna happen. And 2d6 plus 2 is like a minimum of 4 hits, right? Like
Well, statistically 9, right?
Yeah.
On average.
Like your average dice is 9 for sure. That's a lot of automatic hits with AP and strength 4. That's mean.
Let's go.
And all of your casters can get this. It's like a blue. Is it blue flame of Tzeentch?
Yeah.
It's a very chaosy, Rob. Very chaosy. I'm suspicious. This is very sus.
They are fighting against chaos, so maybe they learned some tricks along the way. Do you want to just take us through the next one?
Absolutely. Can you scroll down just a little bit for me?
Sure. Or no. That's it. I'll read it for you if you can't get to the bottom. Sorry about that.
Go for it.
So Great Bastion, the type is an enchantment, and it's got a casting value of 9 with a range of 12 inches. Remains in play. The target for any unit has a 6 ward save against any wounds suffered. In addition, every model within the front rank of an enemy unit that ends its charge move in base contact with a target unit whilst this spell is in play must take the dangerous terrain test. Any wounds lost are counted as unsaved wounds inflicted when calculating the combat result. Oof.
Okay.
However, whilst this spell is in play, the target unit cannot march or charge. This spell may target a friendly unit engaged in combat.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's not as outputty straight up as just a magic missile that's going to burn through wood elves like they're made of nothing. But it's definitely interesting on a big combat block. Yeah,
for sure. I would call it perfectly cromulent. It remains in play, so it can be dispelled once it's actually on. But 6 up ward save is great, and just punking danger with dangerous terrain tests, like you said, like if they've got to be in base contact, but like if you're 6 wide and you got 6 people in base with you, odds are you're getting extra combat risk. It's not awful. It's just
And the next one is the Might of Heaven and Earth, which is another enchantment with 2 different casting values, a 9 and a 12. If this spell is cast with a 9 or more, the caster and their mount and any unit they have joined gain +1 modifier to their weapon skill and strength characteristic to a maximum of 10. Oh my God. That's, by the way, later on when we find it, that's nuts. Okay, anyway.
Okay,
then,
all right.
Okay, +1 to their weapon skill and strength to a maximum of 10. Okay, and that's any unit they have joined. That's a great spell. If this spell is cast with a casting result of 12 or more, all friendly units within the caster's command range where this spell is cast gain +1 modifier to their weapon skill and strength to a maximum of 10 and gain the flaming attack special rule. This spell lasts until the end of the turn. I can imagine this person playing against a dwarf player and then being like, oh, not a 12, only a 9. I don't want them to get the ward save against all of my attacks.
Well, yeah, and then also, I mean, just depending on how the winds blow at the beginning of the turn, you might just be +2 weapon skill immediately. So, normally we love to see pluses or minuses to hit rather than to the weapon skill, but I mean, like a +2 to your weapon skill is going to change the way dice roll for sure in most cases.
Especially on those large characters.
Yeah.
Because they're already going to have very high weapon skill. It means you're probably hitting them on 6s, they're hitting you on 2s. That one's somehow even better than the first one, my hot take. That's wild.
They're both very spicy. So we got 2 nice hot and fresh spicy options there. 12 plus though, even that is putting it, at like you got to get 8 on the dice with a level 4 caster there. It is difficult.
You get that +1 once per game, once per turn if you've got 2 casters within range of each other. So
that's fair.
That helps a little bit as well. And we haven't even looked at magic items for pluses to cast. So,
that's fair.
Yeah,
yes.
There's lots. So I would say overall, a pretty great signature spell lore.
Absolutely. Some very excellent options. And there's 3 more.
So our next spell lore is the Lore of Yin, and the first one is the Spirits of the Wind and Shadow. It's a hex with a casting value of 10 and a range of 15 inches. Until your next start of turn subphase, the target enemy unit becomes subject to the random move D6 special rule.
Nice. We've seen this one. Yeah, we've seen this one. This one, I think this is a Wood Elf spell that they also got. If that feels pretty harsh.
Really good.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow. Can we explain why, just for everyone at home?
Why? Well, a D6 move, like random movers can be fun, but usually, the ones that are interesting have like a 3D6 random move. So, they're still averaging, somewhere over 9 inches on their moves. D6 value is much less. So they could still potentially charge you and you're not able to react, but odds are they're just kind of stuck. They're not going very far.
So to put this in context, what you would get is maybe a unit that's got like fly 9 or fly 10 with a like declarable charge distance of like 18 as an example. It now goes down to they don't even have a declarable charge distance, so they just move D6 inches and hopefully get into combat. That's a huge nerf, right? But it's got a limited range in 15 inches.
Unless you roll right, and then you got a range of 18 inches, so it puts it in that Miasmic Mirage sort of territory. Although Miasmic Mirage might be 15 as well. But at either way, that is a way to stop an opponent effectively from charging, sure. as long as you stay out of the bubble.
The next spell,
very good.
Very good. The next spell, the Accursed Mirror, is a hex with a casting value of 9 and a range of 15 inches. Until your next start of turn subphase, any rolls to hit of a natural 1 made by the target enemy unit during either the shooting phase or the combat phase result in a strength 3 hit with an AP of 1, which must be resolved against the target enemy unit. This spell may target an enemy unit engaged in combat.
So, okay, with shooting or combat, but wow, okay. So someone decided that they needed to add a rule to counteract poison bricks, I guess, because that's what that's about. Like huge bricks of shooting to me is what is usually toughness 3, and all rolls of 1 are going to wind up resulting in a wound on a 4+ in those scenarios a lot of the time. That's pretty wild.
I mean, even something like Forsaken, right? Like Forsaken roll a lot of dice, so or like big monstrous units. Now, sure, a strength 3 hit means you're probably wounding those on 5s. They've got good armor saves, they've got ward saves. There's a bunch of stuff, but it's like and it will be pretty persistent if they're in an ongoing combat for 2 or 3 turns. Like they're gonna blend themselves to pieces, which is very funny. I'm sure in the comments below, let us know the maths. I'm sure someone's about to open a spreadsheet and work this one out, but it's very fun.
Yeah, you want to look for situations where people are rolling a lot of dice to hit, right? So anything that might be line hammery or the Forsaken's a great thing. They can roll a bucket of dice sometimes, but I'm just thinking this is really effective against shooting, especially those big shooting bricks that are trying to maybe target your dragon.
So that feels pretty good. And then the next one, Ancestral Warriors, is an assailment spell. So you're going to be casting that in combat. And it's casting value of 7 or 11. If this spell is cast with a casting result of 7 or more, a single enemy unit the caster is engaged combat with suffers 2d3 strength 2 hits with an AB of dash. If the spell is cast with 11 or more, the target enemy unit suffers 2d6 strength 4 hits with an AP of 1. And this spell has Armor Bane 2.
It's not a bad assailment spell.
No, it's just not the Accursed Mirror or Spirits of the Wind Shadow. It's neither of those two.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll see what type of how the casters reveal themselves. I suspect. I mean, look, we want to be doing some hexing, some buffing, some magical shooting. So if and then, even though they are armored, and they have a ward save, we may not want these guys in combat, right? So yeah, still that is not a bad assailment spell.
It's important. It's important to remember also, if you're new, you don't gain access to all of these spells. What I think I kind of like thinking about those spells is the ability to maybe design some slightly different armies. Number one, I'm going to try and shut you down a little bit, not make you charge, make you hit yourself. It's very funny. But in addition, I could go another way where I can try and make my army stronger and more hitty. So I've got or I can just straight up maybe add to my gun line with a straight up magic missile shooter. So I've got a couple of options there, right, which is good.
Yeah, and the others, the double-edged sword on signature spells, especially ones that are faction specific, is the way that Lore Familiar works. And I hope I got that right. But the one that allows you to choose which spells you get, because normally you're randomly generating the spells that your casters have, and then you can swap one for one of these or the signature spell of the lore that you're using. However, if you want to guarantee the spells that you pick from your lore, you don't get to pick from these spells as per the FAQ. So that is another thing. Although you do get a guarantee pick out of one of these 6, depending on which way you go, you do give up the ability to necessarily pick what you're getting from your main lore. So there is a bit of a trade-off, but having 6 like spells to choose from that all have excellent effects. Well, not all, but like more than one excellent effect in both sides of the yin and yang. That's very, very good. And that's yeah, nothing more to say. It's very good.
I think you've got 4 great spells and 2 in each lore that are great spells. So that's super solid to start. And also your special rules are also good. So Cathay, big thumbs so far.
Okay, this is the Grand Army of Grand Cathay coming in hot and fresh. Let's see if there's any interesting wrinkles here. We do know, of course, pretty limited unit selection out of the gate because it's a brand new army. So let's see what they do with it. Characters, up to 50% of your army's points value may be spent on 0 to 1 Cathayan Dragon per 1,000 points, 0 to 1 Shugengan Lord or Lord Magistrate per 1,000 points. And then we have Shugengan, Gate Masters, Gatekeepers, and Strategists as sort of the other sort of the hero tier characters there.
Two Shugengan Lords, definitely said that wrong, is great. FYI, I'm going to just throw that out there straight away. You'd be able to get 2 of those because they can be wizards. So that's your 2 level 4 wizards straight out of the bat, but they're also combat monsters. So you're in a really good spot because it's also worth pointing out that our Cathayan Dragon, especially our special character that we have, is currently or won't be as a model available at the time of recording. It's coming out with the next Arcane Journal, maybe in like 6 months' time or something. So really, right now, you're going to be looking at, okay, what can I take around here? And the characters and stuff are super cool, but I think the fact that you can get 2 Shugengan Lords for 1,000 points is a little nod to the fact that the dragon is not available.
I'm going with Shugengan.
Yeah, okay.
Hit me in the comments. What really leaps out to me, though, actually, is that the Cathayan Dragon, is not listed. Like, I assume she counts as a Cathayan Dragon.
Yeah, she's a Cathayan Dragon. Yeah.
But that means that, once she is around, you can take her and 2 casters or Lord Magistrate or 2 light, or you know what I mean? Like that's a lot. That's a lot. So
I also like the concept that just randomly they can drop a Cathayan Dragon. Once they've sculpted one, they're like, hey, here it is. Also, there's just some that we'll do the rules on the website for free. Because SDS don't really care. They'll just be like, cool, like you're gonna buy it. So like giving it a subtype is really good because then you can just release whoever whenever they want.
Yeah, the Cathayan Dragons are kind of like Primarch archetypes essentially. So there's I assume they'll all be named characters. We may or may not see all of them, but I know in Total War there's a couple different ones as legendary lords that you can use. So we might see that sort of released over time.
It's all
the children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Core.
Go for it.
Oh, we got it's pretty straightforward. 25% of your army's points values may be Jade Warriors, or 0 to 1 unit of Jade Lancers per 1,000 points may be taken as a core choice. I suspect in a 2,000 point army, that means that your core could, easily just be taken up by cavalry if you wished, or the Jade Warriors. We're gonna have to see what might make more sense.
Yeah, for sure. And ultimately, like you say, it's going to be a limited roster, but the fact that you've got both of those, that's great. I'm sure there'll be more in the future. That's fine. When you think about an army, you do want it to have a certain profile, and you kind of want it to have a bit of everything. And this literally does have everything. It's got a monster, it's got cavalry, it's got infantry. It doesn't have a monstrous cavalry, monstrous infantry kind of type, actually. And it's also got lanterns, which is its unique own thing. So that's super cool. So yeah, I'm not mad at that because those sculpts are obviously insane.
Yeah, and we don't have missile infantry yet. That was one of our only misses on our what might we see when this army came out. So there's clearly lots of ways to expand this roster, and I'm sure we'll see that in the future. So next up, we've got in special, up to 50% of your army's points value may be spent on Jade Lancers, 0 to 3 war machines chosen from the following list per 1,000 points.
That's liberal. That's liberal.
Well, they invented gunpowder, right? So, why not? Seems to be all okie dokie. Also, we're gonna find out what Fire Rain rocket batteries and Cathayan Grand Cannons do. I'm just gonna suspect better than a Hellstorm rocket battery and a Grand Cannon, but we'll find out. If your general is a Shugengan Lord or Shugengan, 0 to 1 Cathayan Sentinel, maybe taken as a special choice. Cool. If your general is a Lord Magistrate or Strategist, 0 to 1 Sky Lantern may be taken as a special choice. Cool. All right, so there's a way to free up some rare points because that's where our friends, the Sky Lanterns and Cathayan Sentinels live. So both two pretty epic models. So I'm sure, regardless of how good they are, people are going to want them.
And that's ultimately, and that's the whole roster, right? Like that's everything. Obviously, it's very, very tight right now, but that's good because it's going to take you, I mean, probably 6 to 8 months to paint up a single Sky Lantern. So you're going to be fine. This is okay for me. I would say it's pretty liberal on letting you take a lot of war machines. That's what I'm going to say. You're not hemmed in.
Yeah. And I can't wait to read about those war machines because it's a lot of them.
So next up, we're going to look at the characters that you can take in this roster, which is pretty interesting because then we're going to look at the magic items, then we're going to look at the units. Obviously, the key take, I mean, I don't know what the key takeaway is or what people love. For me, it's lanterns. But obviously, the concept of turning a character into a dragon is something that they got to write a bunch of rules for. So this is covered in the dragon special rules, which is really funny. I'd just like to highlight very quickly that you and me have been kind of, very gently, barely mentioning, maybe we focused a little bit too much on dragons during the past 18 months of the old world. And then for the first time they release a new army, they're like, what if we make a page just about dragons?
But I will say that one of my biggest concerns about the fact that it's a, rather than a mounted dragon, right? It's a dragon that's either the mount or the person, right? So my immediate thought there was like, oh, well, it's going to be worse, right? Because you're not going to get all those stacking abilities and triple saves and all that kind of stuff. So I am curious to know if like the fact that it's kind of both units is accounted for here, and that, you know, like, is it going to just automatically be worse than a Chaos Lord on Dragon, or is it spicy in a different way?
For sure. All right, let's look at the special rules on how you're going to be able to like transform this dragon and how it works. So transformation of the dragon. Cathay dragon may adopt both a human and a dragon form. Number one, let's start out. That's super cool. I love that. To represent this, you may choose a Cathayan dragon's form at the start of the game by simply placing the appropriate model on the battlefield during deployment. Each form has its own profile and characteristics. I've got to say, that's a nice level of tactical flexibility. Is there some cannons on the board? Do you know what? I'm going to put it as a character inside of a unit, which is still pretty snipeable. But anyway, is there none? And I want to go really aggro really quick down the board. Well, then I'm in a good spot there. So actually, that gives you a lot of flexibility straight off the bat, which I think is very nice.
Yes.
So in the human form, the dragons of Grand Cathay are wise and beloved leaders that walk amongst their people and fight alongside them in battle. Whilst in their human form, a Cathayan dragon follows the rules for a character whose troop type is heavy infantry. Nice, we know how that works, no problem there. Dragon form, it's the same thing. You operate as a behemoth, though, instead of being obviously heavy infantry. However, whilst in their dragon form, Cathayan dragons do not have the inspiring presence rule, even if they are your army's general. And if you do take a special character, it has to be your general. So unless we find a Cathayan dragon that doesn't, then when it becomes a dragon, it's not going to give you inspiring presence. And it's leadership 10. Yeah.
Good thing we've already seen buffs to leadership that you just get randomly. So that's obviously been accounted for. Interesting that they lose inspiring presence, because I don't know, if I had a dragon homie on my team, I would consider that fairly inspiring. Look, one of the most ancient creatures in all of the world fighting alongside me. You know what? I'm just not impressed.
I'm not inspired.
Yes.
Death of a dragon. When a Cathayan dragon loses a wound, that wound is lost from both of its characteristic profiles. The first time during a game, the Cathayan dragon is reduced to 0 wounds, whilst their dragon form, they immediately revert to their human form and recover D3 lost wounds. Once this occurs, they may not take dragon form for the remainder of the game. If a Cathayan dragon is reduced to 0 wounds whilst in their human form, they're removed from players' casualty. So
interesting.
That is interesting, because obviously, like, if you are in your human form, you're very susceptible, obviously. But if you just get sniped as a big old dragon, you're actually not out for the count, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, or even the reverse, right? Like if you're getting kind of like, maybe you've had a bad casting phase and you've lost some wounds, or something's happened in human form, you can dip into the dragon form, and you probably have more wounds available to you immediately. and then you know that you're going to come back to life. So this is really cool. Gives you options.
Lots of flexibility. So transformation. In addition to transforming, when reduced to 0 wounds, a Cathayan dragon may transform from their human form to their dragon form, or vice versa during the command subphase of any turns. To do this, simply place the model that represents the form of the Cathayan dragon is transforming to, so that it is within 6 inches of the model representing the Cathayan dragon's current form, not within 1 inch of any friendly models, and not within 3 inches of any enemy models. Once the model representing the Cathayan dragon's new form has been placed, remove that model representing its previous form from play. When a Cathayan dragon transforms this way, it immediately recovers D3 lost wounds.
What?
A Cathayan dragon cannot declare a charge during a turn in which it transformed and counts as having moved for the purpose of shooting, but can otherwise move normally during the remaining moves subphase. There's a little subnote that when a Cathayan dragon transforms from their human to their dragon form in this way, they immediately leave any unit that they were part of. Transforming allows a Cathayan dragon to leave combat. Allows a Cathayan dragon to leave combat, which is nuts. Charging to my unit. Oh no, you nearly killed my human. Now I'm a dragon at the side of combat. Okay, that's pretty sweet. I've healed D3 now for doing a transform. Mm-hmm. That's really good. Maybe transform back to a human, jump into another unit. There's going to be some people who do shenanigans with this. What I like about this, though, is it's thematic with a really high skill ceiling.
Yeah, and I gotta say, thank you for not green knighting this and making it so that when you transform, you can't just immediately charge. That's nice. So that actually does make it like basically a 2-turn commitment, right? So like that is good. That is really good that condition is there, that you can't charge when you flip into the dragon mode. Is it vice versa too? Can the human charge? Who cares? You're not charging as a human. But the heal D3 wounds every time you do the shapeshift. Someone watched the little Terminator 2. They got the T1000 thing going on in their mind here, just to sort of that ripple effect, healing everything. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I guess my fears have been allayed.
Yeah. Also, the within 6 inches is not wholly within 6 inches.
Yeah.
So you can, that's broad. That's a broad level of movement.
I'm assuming the big dragon's on the biggest base, which is a pretty big honking thing. The was it 150 by 300?
We're about to get into that right now. So I got to say, though, that seems pretty clear. Now, obviously, being rules degenerates, I'm sure at some point there's an opportunity to come up with some sketchy issues, for sure. But I do like the fact that you also can just jump out of combat. I will hate it when it happens to me the first time, because that feels a little too good. Not going to lie. Okay, so our first big character, Miao, Ying, the Storm Dragon. In human form, weapon skill 7, toughness 4 with 7 wounds, initiative 7.
What? Okay, all right. So same wounds for human and Drago. That's interesting. Okay,
that is interesting, especially with the heal D3. 485 points. So toughness 4, initiative 7, 4 attacks, leadership 10 though. In dragon form, also leadership 10, which is nice when you, as a dragon player, when you fail a combat. I hate that. Now, big news on the dragon form is your move 8 but fly 9. So even if someone does have something that stops you from flying, you're still moving pretty fast. And if you get the right one of the harmonies, you're going to be moving 9 as well. So ain't no stopping you. Okay, so a toughness 6 dragon with 7 wounds, strength 7, which is, I think, a pip above general dragon strength, and I think it's normally 6, with weapon skill 8.
That's a very good dragon, sir.
It's a good dragon. It's a strong dragon. Now, normally what happens, as Val pointed out, the reason a mounted character on a dragon is much better because you're obviously able to take a ton of special saves to make it better. However, unlike wood elves, in dragon form, which is probably the important thing for now to talk about in survivability, you get full plate armor, which is going to give you a 4-up armor save. And you have celestial forged armor, which means you're going to get a 5-up ward save. So I'm not too mad at 4-up, 5-up when I also have access to D3 heals. Sure, it shuts down how I'm playing, but that's not too bad either. So we've also got 6 attacks on our dragon, and we'll talk about their attack profile now, actually, because I do really, really want to talk about that. Because
I just want to say, like, by the numbers, like statistically, like that is the best dragon. So we have higher initiative. We have at the same amount of attacks as a star dragon. And now you're saying there's more? Better weapon skill 8. This is a very, very good dragon.
Yes.
And more movement.
Well, the first thing to talk about is the actual Talons of the Storm equipment, the weapon that the dragon has.
Okay.
Strength as user. Let me double check this and make sure I've absolutely got this right. Yeah, Talons of the Storm. Yeah. Strength as user, strength 7, AP 2, armor bane 1, magical attacks, and strike first. Which, if anyone doesn't know, means you strike initiative 10. Okay, and a strength 4 AP 1 breath weapon, but that's not important for now. So also a pretty fighty dragon. Now, when in a human form, Miao Ying is a level 4 wizard. In a dragon form, she drops down to a level 2. She may cast a number of spells equal to her current level of wizardry per turn. Miao Ying knows 4 spells chosen in the usual way from the following laws. So you gain access to battle magic, great spell lore, elementalism, great spell lore, and high magic. 2024 Val's favorite spell lore, but not 2025 Val's favorite spell lore.
Bit of a miss there, but high magic, not exactly terrible, just not as good as battle magic or elementalism. I'm pretty sure if anyone was like, hey, which 2 lores would you like to have access to? The answer would be battle magic and elementalism in most cases. So that's pretty wild.
Yeah. So special rules, now this will apply to both models, is Celestial Forge Armor 5+, which is your 5 up ward save, Disdain of Dragons, which we'll talk about in a moment, Hatred for Warriors of Chaos, which is pretty good. They're one of the most popular armies out there. Rolling to hit against them is pretty nice. Magic Res 1, which is also excellent, obviously, when spells are being done against you. Mastery of the Storm Winds, we'll talk. Mastery of the Storm Winds means you get +1 to cast if you're near another caster once per turn. Mastery of the Elemental Winds is in reference to whichever of the 4 pluses you roll at the start. Stubborn, which is pretty nice. Supreme Matriarch of the Nanguao, which we'll talk about in a minute. Transformation of Dragons, which we've discussed, how you turn. And Will of the Dragons, which is rerolling panics. And also, you're going to get, potentially, +1 movement. You could also get +1 initiative, I think. +1 weapon skill, which was meaning you would go up to weapon skill 9.
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Okay.
And Wrath of the Storm, which is a special rule. So we'll talk about that. If you're in human form, you also have Rallying Cry, which is good. If you're new, that means you're going to be able to basically make a running away unit come back a second time. And then if you're in dragon form, you get Fly 9, you get Large Target, you have D6 Stomps, you have Swift Stride, and you have Terror.
You know, it's too bad they didn't give her enough. They didn't give her any rules. You know, this is pretty bland. This is some dry white toast right here. This is a real Elwood unit card.
Yeah, this is some Priest of Ulrich stuff.
Jeez. We could just reading, that's not even all of it. That's like an episode. We've just done an episode on one character. That's wild.
And maybe we should in the future for sure. But that's where it finished.
Not where we're here now. Yes.
But like you said, we have a really good dragon, also a level 4 wizard, all for that kind of 485 point cap with a 4 up armor save, 5 up ward save, you know, and it's 7 wounds, so it's not necessarily gonna like live forever against a gun line.
7 regenerating wounds, and if you accidentally do get killed as the dragon, you come back as a human, which means you're not giving up the 485 yet.
Which means
you can get the heck out of there.
Yeah, but then use the human. It's actually really good in a.
You can run away.
Yeah, no, it's really good in a kill points denial thing. Might be too good, but we haven't even finished. First up, we got Disdain of Dragons. Enemy models that wish to issue a challenge whilst within Miao Ying's command range, which is massive if you're a dragon, must first make a leadership test using their own leadership. If the enemy model wishes to issue a challenge whilst engaged with Miao Ying, engaged in combat Miao Ying and is also engaged in it, it must apply a +1 modifier to the dice roll. If she is in a human form, you add +2 modifier in her dragon. In +1 if she's human, +2 in her dragon form. So you're in combat or even in the command range. You've got to do a leadership test. If you pass, then you do it as normal. If you fail, the challenge dies on the enemy's lips and goes unissued. Now, Val. Okay. Oh, finally, challenge is issued by Miao Ying, cannot be refused. My friend, what is one of the main tricks for dealing with a dragon in the old world at the moment?
That'd be why my jaw's a bit slack right now. But one of the main tricks for dealing with the dragon right now is you challenge them with unit champion and give up 7 combat res or 6 combat res and then hope to beat them with your static res. That's how you do it. But now you also have to pass a leadership check using their own leadership, which is important to point out.
Why?
Well, that's usually how things are phrased when they want you to actually use the unit's leadership, like their leadership value. So we saw this with that's I think in the FAQ answer about veteran. So yeah, that usually is like literally just the unit's leadership, not like inspiring presence or anything else. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's going to give this
dragon
thing
mode. You will add +2 to it. Now, if there is any ways in this army to lower the unit's leadership, you're now in a crazy position.
So hold on. So I actually, it is a little cut off. Are you adding +2 to their leadership?
Yes, they do a test with +1 modifier if they're human and +2 modifier if it's in dragon form.
So therefore, they are getting a buff to their leadership to do this.
Right, +2.
So
Yes, not -2.
Yes.
You're right.
So yeah, okay. So then this probably doesn't save them from the challenge that often, but nonetheless, it's also just in the command range.
No, it's +1 modifier to the dice roll. Then isn't it going to go up?
Is it to the dice roll?
Yeah, it's to the dice roll.
Okay. Yeah.
Not
okay.
To the leadership. I thought.
Yeah. So more likely to fail. More likely to fail. My bad. Okay. Yeah. If it's not to their leadership, but to the dice roll. Yeah. No, that's just it's a very, very useful thing. Like challenges in general are big deals, and sometimes a dragon wants to get into a challenge. So maybe you're just nearby and you're stopping some like a dragon from hiding from you. Like in a challenge, because that does happen too. So,
well, if Miao Ying issues the challenge, you cannot refuse.
I know, but she doesn't even have to be. It's just like if your opponent wants to get into a challenge for whatever reason, strategically they want to do that, and she's nearby, they might fail.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that's very good.
That's very good. I'll take that over losing inspiring leader presence, to be honest.
I do like this too as a means of moderating challenges a little bit. Obviously, we would need to see infantry get some sort of love, and maybe they will. But right now, it would be cool if, depending on what you're challenging, you may not be so committed to the challenge, you know what I mean? So this would be kind of a cool rule for dragons in general, or for monsters in general, that if they're on a monstrous mount, you may not want to fight them on your own. You know what I mean? That's
for sure.
Kind of a neat flavor thing.
Well, we're not finished because she has another page of rules. So, the next page.
It's 3 pages of rules, by the way, guys. So by any standard definition of is a model good, the answer is yes.
Not including giants, though.
Not including giants. Giants are an exception. There's an asterisk on that.
Right. The next rule, Mastery of the Storm wins. Miao Ying may discard up to 2 of her randomly generated spells rather than the usual 1. When she does so, she may replace them with spells chosen from the Law of Yang, page 46, the Law of Yin, page 47, the signature spell of her chosen Law of Magic, or with the following spell. The Storm Dragon's Fury is a magic missile cast at 10 with a range of 18 inches. The target enemy's unit suffers 2d3, strength 5 hits, AP 3. These hits have the flaming attack special rule. Once these hits have been resolved, the target enemy unit must give ground.
So she can have Wind Blast. Literally could have Wind Blast. She could signature spell to the one in the either Yin or Yang, and she can have this.
Or Yin and Yang and benefit from both of the whatever the 4+ might be.
Wild.
Just leave it there. We're not gonna expand on that. Wild. And then finally, the Supreme Matriarch of Nangao, as if this is so.
Do you even need 6 cannons if you have one of her?
Wait for this bit. This bit's great. If your army includes Miao Ying, she must be the army general. That makes sense.
Okay.
In
That's
addition to 0 to 1 units of Jade Warriors and 0 to 1 units of Lancers in her army may be upgraded to Celestial Dragon Guard for +1 point per model. Only +1 point per model. That's very cheap for any upgrade. Celestial Dragon Guard have +1 modifier to their weapon skill and leadership characteristics to a maximum of 10, and gain the Celestial Armor special rule, which means they have a 6-up ward save. So she's in your army. You can just pick some units. They're only a point more. They become Celestial Dragon Guard, and all of a sudden, so it's 1 unit of Jade Warriors, 1 unit of Jade Lancers, +1 to their weapon skill, +1 to their leadership, 6-up ward save. Now, to get a 6-up ward save, you have to play...
For a point, guys.
Yeah, you have to pay Chosen, have to be like...
oh, jeez.
So what do we think What do we think about the auto buy dragon? It looks great.
I think there's going to be a lot of proxied cans of Coke for Miao Ying for a little while. Resin 3D printers out there firing up the cool worm dragons that they have in their rosters. Miao Ying, he's hands down best character in the game.
So one of the things about China and Chinese culture, obviously, is their cooking, and they did not stop cooking with this. They just kept cooking and cooking, and 2,000 years of cooking. Wild.
And she's the first. She's the first of 8 of these.
This is so insane that the next thing that is insane, which you're about to read through, isn't even okay. So prior to the release of Old World, I believe Rob, based on his cafe intelligence, described Old World as dragons all the way down. And I was like, maybe. And then we saw 1 plastic dragon, and yes, the dragon rules are cooked. But maybe what that intuition was just a relentless release schedule of Grand Cathay dragons. Listen, I need you to take me through because you know how to say it best.
I don't want to.
The Shugengan.
I think we just hang it up right now, man. Like you don't even need more. You don't even need more army.
She's not out, so let's look at what you can currently buy. Plus, you have to take core units. So let's talk about it.
All right, fine. Okay, but I will play 1,000 points of her and 2 units against a lot of stuff. Okay, here we go. So this is the Shugengan. God damn it. Shugengan, Lords of the Celestial Host. So we have the Lord level, weapon skill 6. Cool. Ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, weapon skill 7. Sorry, wound 7. Wound 7?
Wound 7, because it's just mounted on the Great Spirit Longma. Just immediately mounted on it.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So initiative 6, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 220 points.
220 points for 7 wounds.
7 wounds, toughness 5. Automatically on the mount. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so
sorry, I feel like you're under-egging it. Over-egg it more. It's 220 points.
That's yes. No, it's very very.
Also a level 2 wizard.
Also, it comes in base level 2. Can we upgrade? We're gonna find out. So on a 60 by 100. So we've got hand weapon, iron talons, and light armor. So it comes with weapons. Crown of Horns, see below. Magic, a Shugengan Lord is level 2 wizard. A Shugengan General is level 1 wizard. Shugengan knows spells from the following Lords of Magic. Battle Magic, Elementalism, Illusion. High Magic, Illusion not so great on a level 2, but probably Battle Magic here. Options, may take one of the following. A Celestial Blade, a Cathayan Lance, may take a Dragon Fire Pistol, dope. May replace light armor with heavy armor, okay. Must choose one of the following special rules. The Lore of Ying or Lore of Yang or Lore of Yin. So can take any of those awesome signatures we already saw. May be upgraded. Here it is to a level 4 wizard for 60 points.
Wait, hold on. So not to over-egg it, but so for 280 points,
yes.
Please find out how much a Demon Prince is. You can have you can have a toughness 5, 7 wound, level 4 wizard.
Yeah, who's flying automatically.
Yeah, and if it doesn't fly, it's move 8.
Oh, this doesn't fly?
No, it does fly. But if it isn't flying, it moves 8.
It's movement 8. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a great spirit. There's strong spirits here. Best spirits you've ever seen. Okay. Cool. And then, of course, the general, the lower level version can be upgraded from a level 1 to a level 2 wizard, and 50 points. Pretty standard stuff there. So special rules: Armored Hide 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, that would mean that your base armor value would be a 3-up save.
Do you have light armor and shield?
No, but you can upgrade to heavy armor.
Oh, perfect. 3-up save, 5-up ward. Perfect. Good start.
Yeah, we're off to a good one here. Yeah, so 3-up, 5-up already. Countercharge, great. Fear, awesome. Fly 9, impact hits, C3+1. Mastery of the elemental winds, Swift Ride, Will of the Dragons, Iron Talons. So this is just the weapon they come with.
Yep.
Strength is user AP -1, strike first. So what's their strength?
That's on the Longma. That's on the Longma. So strength 5 with 3 attacks.
No, Iron Talons on the Shugengan. Crown of Horns on the Great Spirit.
Oh, on the Shugengan, 4 attacks at strength 4. But you're obviously going to be able to take. You can take. Oh no, you can't take any. Oh, you can have. You have magic points, magic items.
You can take magic. You can take magic weapons. Yeah, you can put all kinds of other stuff on here. They can take a magical shield. Get down to a 2+.
Mm-hmm. Say it with me. 2+. You can take a Lore Familiar. I think you're forgetting it's a level 4 wizard.
Level 4 wizard. Yep. For 280.
For 280.
Yeah, 280. Yeah, we're doing pretty good here.
Well, no, hold on. Let's not rob them. We're spending 4 points on heavy armor, so it's actually 284.
284. Yep. I mean, that's good. What's Crown of Thorns do though?
Armor Bane 1, AP 1, Strength as user, so 3 attacks. So it's not like super punchy, but it's punchier than a Demon Prince. It's cheaper.
Like, I mean, it's not punchy.
It's 7 wounds.
That was 5.
It's a level 4 wizard. Did I mention it?
It has come up. So there. But okay. So this is what I want to know. Do we have level 4s that aren't on the Great Spirit Longma?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So they're level 4. So that is interesting, right? So that means that they're level 4. Is expensive compared to the level 4s. I mean, you're getting a lot. There's no complaints here.
I apologize. You do have a level 4. It also turns into a dragon.
Yeah. Well, we're assuming we don't have access to that yet. So there's going to be at least 15 minutes where people don't have Miao Ying. And they're going to be slumming it with the Shugengan Lord.
Yeah, unless the FAQ changes how many level 4s you can take, which is one of the rumored changes. You can only have one level 4.
I will note also that one of the rumored comp restrictions will be that no character may exceed 25% of your army's value, which would be 500 points. What was Miao Ying again?
485, baby.
It's 485. Coming in at 485. Yeah, but you can't have 2 steam tanks.
No way. No way.
No.
So
Too much.
If you had to rate a Shugengan Lord profile out of 10, what are you going to give it?
I mean, it's very good. Okay, Rob, what do you want me to say? It's very good. But I mean, once you do, I mean, yeah, like even without quote kitting it out, your base tier is very good. And you have an incredibly mobile caster. They're not a large target, right? I don't remember seeing large target.
Nope.
So they can hide, they can bounce different places. They are what is it, a monstrous mount?
It's a monstrous creature. It's a monstrous creature.
So they can't hide in a unit. So that's one thing. So that does also change, some of those like range self casting options. The fact that there's no foot option, it does it's very good, Rob. What do you want me to say? It's very good.
If we get the rumored Longma cavalry as well, or monstrous creatures in the future with Arcane Journal Wave 2.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Whoa,
well, those will be not Great Spirit Longmas. This is a Great Spirit. Best spirit you've ever seen.
Great spirit.
Mighty spirit here.
Okay, this one's great. Let's move on. So our next support character is the Magistrate.
How about a bad one? Let's get a dud here, okay, guys? I'm sick of these wildly good units.
If it helps, these are cheap. Magistrates of Grand Cathay, 65 points or 40 points if you go for a Lord Magistrate or a Strategist. So they're just regular infantry, 25 mil. They've got light armor, so very heavily armored compared to obviously Something like a wood elf. You can put them on sky lanterns. We'll talk about those in a bit. And you could take gunpowder bombs or dragonfire bombs. We're going to go through all that equipment in a moment. And Grand Strategist could take 50 points of magic items. So you've got, most importantly, the Grand Strategist special rule, which is, unless this character is fleeing, all friendly units within their command range, except your general, can use this character's leadership characteristic instead of their own. In addition, once per turn, friendly unit that wins a round of combat whilst within this character's command range may choose to fall back in good order rather than making a follow-up and pursuit move. So a little bit of a hit and run tactic there.
Yeah, but also can use this character's leadership characteristic instead of their own. This is the one that goes in the balloon. Yeah. So that's going to definitely be a large target. So 18 inches of leadership 9 on some turns.
Points for leadership 9. And
Hold on.
If you go to 40 points, does it go down? Wrong. It's still leadership 9.
So the inspiring presence rule that we were talking about before, that you lose when you're in dragon form, guess what doesn't matter? And on top of that, this is not inspiring presence. This is grand strategy, Robbo, which means if you're near a swirling necromantic vortex that takes away your ability to use inspiring presence, you can still use this at leadership 9, some turns, leadership 10, because of the rule that they get. So it seems like leadership just not a thing for Grand Cathay.
I think it's really thematic though. The winner combat pullback sort of thing. That's a cool. That's cool.
Super sick. That's super sick. Yes, I don't know when you'd want to do that per se. Because it is when you once per turn a friendly that wins round combat. Maybe there's scenarios where you want to do that, like to reposition. I don't know. Definitely opportunity for, again, skill expression on the table with a rule like that.
At 65 points, they're like goblin cheap.
Yes.
That's great. For 3 wounds is crazy. Just going to throw that out there. That's good. 65 points. Okay. Now,
and can take stuff.
Yeah, and can take 100 points if you've spent 65. It's like a magic item. Go.
Okay, we got Gate Masters of the Celestial Cities. Let's have a look here. We got a Gate Master, movement 4, weapon skill 7. Okay, so he's a 4E guy. Ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 80 points. This would be your normal general, right? Like this is what we would expect to see from a human sort of general character.
Only he lost 80 points.
But he's 80 points. Cool. And then there's the Gatekeeper. So this is your BSB character if you wish to use one. Movement 4, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 45 points. Okay. All right. We're getting back to normal here. That's nice. Just some normal dudes. May take one of the following: a Celestial Blade, a Cathayan Lance, for 6 and 4 points respectively. May be mounted on a war horse for 16 points. Gate Master may have 100 points of magic items. Keeper 50 points. And then special rules: Harmony of Stone and Steel, as well as Will of the Dragons. Now, Harmony of Stone and Steel, that was on the previous guy as well, right?
Correct.
All right. So a unit joined by a character with the special rule may reroll any failed leadership test when attempting to reform after running down the foe, when attempting to redirect a charge, or when making a restraint test. So
three huge pivotal roles in the game.
Yeah. And also ones that you don't really think about very much, but a lot of times you might think to yourself, I wish I could reroll that, which is really good because it's not like, because leadership is a problem in this army. So you want as many reroll opportunities as you possibly get.
It's also worth mentioning the last character and this character, and all the characters obviously have Will of the Dragons. So you're also going to get those reroll panic checks as well.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
So this is almost an undead chaos army at this point. We've got things that come back to life. We've got no caresies about a ton of psychology, or very close to it. We've got a lot of great, buffing and. Although, to be honest with you, not really. Most of that sort of like, army benefit is just global. Like, there's not a lot of stuff here that's like really critical.
I refer you to, I think the important element is that you've got a more reliable army, right? Like, this is our last character. So if we kind of just take a snapshot of what we're looking at, You get a more reliable army. Like you're re-rolling a lot of leadership. Your leadership is already really high. You've got access to good spell lore. And if you choose, and if you want to, you can always just go into a spell that's going to give you like +1 weapon skill, +1 strength to a unit, which is pretty gnarly. Like, and it's a pretty great upgrade. That doesn't include other stuff like, obviously, you know, if you take your main dragon character, you've got that to play around with, which is really fun. And then all the support things like battle magic will bring. So, you know, obviously being able to give ward saves out if you go inside of a unit. And then obviously we're going to see some support stuff also come from the lanterns, and we're going to start seeing like artillery and the actual units that are going to hold the line. But you've got good punchy characters, survivable characters, and are more reliable. It's kind of, I know it's also a bit dwarven. It's also high leadership with rerolls. It's kind of a chaos dwarf undead army at the moment.
Yep. And one thing to point out, I guess, with these guys is that they're just heavy armor and shield and no option for full plate.
Listen,
but the Cathayan Warhorse, does it maybe have does it have
barding? Yeah,
it's got the barding.
It's got the barding. Listen, no one come for Val. Especially the Wood Elf gang. Leave him alone. Okay. Let's leave. Right now, let's start looking at
It's the Empire. I think right now it's the Empire gang just being like, what the? Why? Why?
So let's look at the special equipment, and then let's look at the magic items. So in the equipment list, obviously, we've talked about Cathayan Lancers and some Dragon Fire Bombs. So let's start looking at that, shall we? So Cathayan Lance, super simple. We can obviously see this on a cavalry unit. They're going to be Strength +1, AP 1, Armor Bane 1, and Fight in extra rank. Now, this was covered already in the Warhammer community article, and a lot of people pretty excited about maybe doing this, but obviously how often do you really see an extra like rank of cavalry, or with the new FAQ changes and stuff in the future, do you think we're likely to see it? What do you reckon?
I don't know. We haven't seen any real rumors about increasing output for infantry. We've seen rumors actually decreasing output because restricting the fighting rank, but we have seen static res bonuses maybe, but I mean it's all who knows at this point. I would hope for a fight in X rank being kind of generic like it is here, but this is already very good. Magistrate, cavalry, monster, chariot, only Cathay's on the arm pierce on applies during turn, which will charge. So the other thing too is that they're not hitting as hard as a regular lance, but they're getting more attacks. So that's that kind of, I don't know how much that comes out in the wash or what.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're hitting, right? But like, I feel like Cav aren't great into a monster anyway. So I think Strength +1 is fine into infantry.
Yeah, okay. We'll probably find out that the Jade Lancers have 3 attacks each anyway. So let's
maybe 4.
Maybe 5.
Right, so we're trying to take us through the Celestial Blade.
Celestial Blade is combat strength +1, -1 AP, strike first.
Sorry, we should also add in they're also elves. We forgot to mention that they're the Warriors of Chaos, Undead, Dwarven Elf army. That makes sense.
We were going to buy these anyway, just so you know. But thank you for the rules.
Just FYI.
FYI. I had already committed to making a terrible choice on Saturday, and this is wild. All right, Dragonfire Bristol.
So it's 12 inches. It's strength 5, AP 1, flaming attacks, multiple shots, 2, and quick shot. Super simple. It's just a nice little gun you can put onto a character. It's fine. We'll take the Dragonfire pistol. Please, you can give that to a unit. That's fine. I don't mind if you give that to a unit. 12 inches is okay. Strength 5, though.
It's just a randomly better than usual pistol. All right, so gunpowder bombs, 9-inch range, strength 3, armor bane 1, move and shoot, quick shot. If the roll to hit is successful, a gunpowder bomb causes D3 hits to the target enemy unit rather than the usual 1.
Okay. All right. Not too bad. And then Dragonfire bombs are strength 4, AP 1, armor bane 1, flaming attacks, move and shoot, and quick shot. And if the roll to hit is successful, the Dragonfire bombs cause D3 +1 hits to the target enemy unit rather than the usual 1. So, like, these are just cute little extra. They're not like in the pigeon bomb category, but if we just
why would you ever do a gunpowder bomb?
So I was just going to say that the gunpowder bomb is only 5 points and the Dragonfire bomb is 10 points. So maybe you want to save some points there and there. And obviously these are really good if you're on a lantern, I assume. Like a little extra shooting attack to throw out. Sure. I'm not mad about it, right?
Okay, so we've seen these. So those are our generic items. Do we want to do magic items?
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it.
I'm girding my loins right now for what's about to happen.
Take me through Val's favorite, the most expensive
all right, here we
weapon.
Go. Most expensive weapon in the Grand Army, and it is something of the Monkey King. So it is the Monkey King's Wisdom, 75 points. I'm going to read the flavor text here. A huge and ornate club studded with jewels wrapped with precious metals. The Monkey King's Wisdom is huge and brutal. Well, is a huge and brutal weapon. All right, so it is Strength 10, AP 4. Coming out swinging, 75 points, Strength 10, AP 4, magical attacks, multiple wounds, D3, requires 2 hands, strike last. Okay, that's a pretty standard, most expensive weapon. We got some significant downside there.
Do we?
Yeah, strike last?
Yeah. Like, what if I'm on like a 2-up, 5-up ward, not quite a dragon? What about spirit?
The great spirited longbow, you might say?
Yeah.
Yeah, even
like,
still.
I'm already cooking on my armor. I haven't got any points to spend.
Yeah. I mean, it's 75 points. Although that model in particular does not need to spend any additional points. They could literally just take this because they have the 5-up ward. They have the 2-up. Well, you need a magical. You need. Well, you can afford it. You can take your magical shield. Yeah, okay, but strike last isn't great. No. Although you are plus 4. Oh, you can't use the shield. It requires 2 hands.
Okay.
It's not okay. Look, it's not terrible by any stretch. Okay.
I think people are going to.
But it's not something you're probably going to take for 75 points.
Hey, if you're watching this, let me know either in the chat or in the comments that you rate it.
It's going up against the Ogre Blade, which would be a better version of this.
Yeah, absolutely. But people are just going to get excited to read Strength 10. They're going to be like Strength 10,
and also to deliver the Monkey King's wisdom, of course.
Of course. So the Jade Blade of the Great Fleet. The Jade Blade is an ancient weapon fashioned from the fang of a Lumbrian sea monster, imbued with the monster's regenerative powers. Oh no! I don't want to read any further. It continuously heals its wielder. Jade Blade of the Great Fleet is combat strength +2, AP 2, armor bane 1, magical attacks, and for some reason gives you regen. The wielder of the Jade Blade of the Great Fleet gains regen and also strength +2, AP 2, armor bane 1.
It's not a bad package. I've actually been wondering in the back of my head. We haven't seen regeneration as a rule yet, so this is the first place we've seen to get it. So glad to hear they weren't left out in the cold for regen. 70 points, like what's that weapon worth to you plus a 5-up regen rule? Now this was something that on a Great Spirit Longbow I think might make sense.
Yeah, agreed. Talking about that, do you want to talk about the Longma Spear?
Oh yes, for 25 points we've got a my brain broke. We got a strength +1, AP -3, armor bane 1, magical attacks. Model whose troop type is cavalry, monster, or chariot only, so that's almost all of them. Not infantry. Mm-hmm. Spirit, Longma Spear, strength, and armor-piercing modifiers apply only in a turn in which the wielder charged.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's not too shabby. It's
also crazy cheap. It's 25 points.
Yeah, I mean versus just like another regular lance, you're just getting a juice. You're getting an AP buff there for the 25 points. Mm-hmm. If it was like a regular lance, like a +2 strength, I might be more excited about it. The Jade Blade of the Great Fleet on a Longma really feels like that might be something.
I agree.
And with 30 points to spare to juice it even more.
So then we've got 20 points for the Sun and Moon Blades, which is strength as user AP 1 with extra attacks 1, magical attacks requires 2 hands. If the wielder of the Sun and Moon Blade is struck with a killing blow, roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, the killing blow is parried and the killing blow is discarded with no further effect. Now, not too bad on one of our little support characters, FYI.
Yeah, maybe if killing blow is a concern to you. Like one of the weird things about killing blow is just how like specific it is, because like there's a lot of cleaving blow out there, mm-hmm. And that wouldn't necessarily provide a help for you. And it's not just a straight immunity to killing blow, which would have been fine. Mm-hmm. But overall, okay. This was not like I feel like the Beastmen so far have the best magic weapons, pretty normalish magic weapons, I think, for the Grand Army of Cathay so far.
Oh, there's one that I mean, these are just like, this is the Grand Alliance like army. Like we'll still have
This is the Grand Army, yeah.
We'll have another suite of magic items coming out in the Arcane Journal. So
yeah, once we're all jaded from how good Cathay is already, then the Arcane Journal drops and we get more good stuff. double Cathay. Cathay all the way down.
So now into magic armor. We've only got 2. So the first one, the Armor of the Warbird, is 45 points. A model whose troop type is regular infantry or heavy infantry only. The Armor of the Warbird is a suit of heavy armor. In addition, the wearer gains a countercharge, fly 9, and swift stride special rules. However, the bearer cannot join a unit. That's such a fun little bit of tech.
That is interesting.
That is fun.
Yeah, you can make a little missile character if you wanted. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I love that.
We have the Shield of Nangao, 20 points. The Shield of Nangao is a shield. Good. In addition, during a turn in which its bearer was charged, the Shield of Nangao improves its bearer's armor value by 2 to a maximum of 2+.
Wonder who would want to take that.
Great Spirit Longma?
And that means we've only spent 90 points so far on us, Great Spirit Longma.
Yeah. And that means also you don't have to upgrade the heavy armor, right? No, I guess you still would. But yeah.
Just for the fun of it.
Here's a question for the comments. If you are improving your save beyond a 2+ to a 1+, and you get AP -1, are you at a 2+ or a 3+?
I think you
I don't remember if you do that anymore.
It says to a maximum of 2+. So
so it would still be -1. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
So
thank you, Rob.
That's okay. My pleasure. Talismans. The Crystal of Kunlan is 35 points. The Crystal of Kunlan gives its bearer a 5 ward save against any wounds suffered. In addition, if a natural 6 is rolled when making the ward save, every enemy model in base contact with the bearer suffers a single strength 3 hit with an AP of dash. These attacks have the flaming special rule. This is fine if you want to give it to that little support character or even that little BSB. Take that.
Yeah, maybe. The handful of dudes who don't already have a 5 board. Yeah, for sure. Crown of Jade, 20 points. Crown of Jade gives its wearer a 4+ ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by a magic missile, a magical vortex, or an assailment spell.
I mean, that's not bad if you want to take the Longma up to just being a 4+ ward. Like, that's significant against, like, so it's, you're a creature that's flying around, you're not in a unit, fireballs are going to be an issue.
Feels like a good one for perhaps whoever's hanging out in your giant balloon.
Oh, that's a great shout as well, for sure. Yeah. That's really good. Oh, now we get on to the spicy bits, the bits that I like, the magic standards. So our first one is the standard of Wei Jin, which is 40 points.
Where's the 80-point banner? Where's the? Oh, that's the Arcane Journal. That's an Arcane Journal. My bad.
A unit carrying the standard of Wei Jin causes fear. In addition, all enemy units within 12 inches of the model carrying the standard of Wei Jin suffer a -1 modifier to their leadership characteristic. When making fear, panic, or terror tests. Oh, I wonder if
at least 100-point banner.
I wonder if you've got any. Wonder if you've got any terror causing units in this army.
Yeah, the dragon. That's it so far, but probably other ones. Icon of Heavenly Fury, 35 points.
Can I just point out that? Making a unit cause fear means you no longer suffer terror. Meaning that they're now even more immune to psychological effects, which I think is not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we're on to the Icon of Heavenly Fury. 35 points, single use. A unit carrying the Icon of Heavenly Fury may activate it during the command subphase of their turn until your next start of turn subphase. Enemy units cannot use the Fly X special rule.
Yeah, but I've got to do a leadership test, right?
No.
I've got to roll a dice.
No, but it is single use.
Yeah, but I can't just.
So that's nice.
I can't just turn off all of their flying for a turn when I can shoot them with all my cannons.
No, you can totally do that. I just. Were you listening?
Okay.
Or are you being sorry? Yeah. Okay. Look. Points? Yeah. No, it's 35 points, but they're all in this range. But yeah, the hatred for the ability to fly is prevalent in these last 2 books.
I have a question. Why is taking a unit from fly 9 bad? Like, what's that even do? Is their normal move not just 1 lower, like move 8, like all of the other flying units we've seen in this book? What happens? I'm fly 9. Normally that means I move 8. Is that right?
No, that's not right. Although usually, I mean, dragons drop to what, 6 usually? 6 with Swift Stride, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and sometimes if you're like, say, a 2-legged wyvern, I think you're down to like movement 2. You're a great eagle, you're movement 1. It's quite funny.
Could you imagine if there's a way to turn Swift Stride off in this army as well? That would be nuts. Well, we'll see. We'll see if there's a way.
Is there?
Okay, there is, and it's nuts. All right.
Okay.
So the Dragon's Eye banner is 30 points. When an enemy wizard chooses a unit carrying the Dragon's Eye banner as the target of a spell, roll a d6 on a 3+. The wizard's controlling player must choose another target. If there's no other visible target in range, the spell cannot be cast. Now that's 30 points. That's actually a magic item stolen from the Ogre book. So this is the banner of the banner of the Great Maw. That used to do exactly the same thing. Effectively, it was just like that was your only way around Purple Sun. You'd be like 3+, get it away. Oh, actually, I don't know if it worked against Purple Sun.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wasn't targeted. Yeah, you were targeted. Maybe Dwellers Below, though, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But it was like 3+, go away. So now this book is Warriors, Undead, Dwarf, Empire, Bretonia, and Ogres. Right, next up, last one, Banner of the Bastion. It's only 25 points, so a unit carrying the Banner of the Bastion gains the Shield Wall special rules. Shield Wall. That's a pretty great ability to have on a unit. Hopefully, the infantry is good. And then,
so I just need to double back 1 second here, because my mind immediately on that banner just went to for magic missile defense. That's target of a spell. So that's hexes.
That's hexes.
That's very good. That is a very good banner. That was a very good banner.
Such a good banner.
Such a good banner.
So we're going to move on to enchanted items. And the first one, the Maw Shard, is 40 points. If an enemy wizard rolls any natural double when making a casting roll whilst within 18 inches of the Maw Shard, the spell is miscast regardless of the casting result.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm not totally afraid of the miscast table, but that is very good. Alchemist Mask, 35 points. The wearer of the Alchemist Mask can cast the Plague of Rust spell from the Lore of Elementalism as a bound spell with a power level of 3. Is that one use only?
No.
Oh my god.
What does Plague of Rust do, buddy?
-2 to the target unit's armor save, can be cast into combat.
Big news.
It is one of the best spells in the game.
Big news with -2 is that's huge. Most stuff rocks around with kind of like a 6-up, 5-up save. So you can strip stuff. Okay. That's crazy.
That's real good. And a bounce was good. A bounce spell 3 is unusual, I would say, especially for a spell of that quality. Yeah, like I mean, it's not that is like at power level 3, you're not it's not unlikely that you get it off even against a level 4 caster.
That's true. Now the Spirit Lantern, which is a common magic item, which means you could take it multiple times in your army, is 25 points. A model carrying a Spirit Lantern causes terror. In addition, a model carrying a Spirit Lantern may re-roll any rolls to wound of a natural 1 against enemy models that are demonic or undead. Not bad.
For 25 points.
Not bad. We like terror.
Yeah. We're just adding a little error there.
Now, the next section, it could get really spicy because obviously we've got a lot of magic that's going off in this army. So let's have a look, shall we?
Oh my god, we haven't done arcane items yet? No. Okay. Okay.
Normally, this is where the power is, right? So
yeah, there's usually something good in here. Okay.
First up, you go for it, buddy.
Cloak of Pomei. 50 points. In addition to their randomly generated spells, the wearer of the Cloak of Pomei knows all 3 spells from the lore of Yin or the lore of Yang, chosen by their controlling player. However, they can only cast a number of spells equal to their level of wizardry per turn. Yowza. For 50 points. Yes. That's good. So also, here's what you can do. You can Hold on.
You can jump into the other lore as well, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So you select Yin, and then you
choose one from Yang.
And you choose and then you get all 3 of Yang, or vice versa.
So you can have 2 Shugengan lords in like per 1,000 points. So you can have one who's like, that's going to be my caster bot, and then the other is going to be like, that's more of my fighty bot. and it's still only going to set you back 500 points. So you're fine.
Yeah.
Or 600 points, maybe. That's a great one. That's good because you've got two spells in each of those laws, which are really significant.
Yeah, very good. And you can have the one of the, you know what I'm saying? Like you get 4 of them basically.
And also you get the choice, right? Because like I'm generating my spells at the start. So I'm playing against an enemy army and I'm like, right, what do I want more? Do I want more spells from, do I want to do more of the hexes or do I want to do more of the others? That's got a lot of options. That's really nice. Yep. So next one, the Guardian. Our next item is the common magic item, the Guardian Feng Shi Bow, which is 35 points. Any enemy model that directs its attacks against the owner of the Guardian Feng Shi Bow during combat phase suffers -1 modifier to its hit roll. That's really good when you're already weapon skill maybe 9.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's an interesting one for an arcane item. But yeah, the Shenzhen I'm sorry. The guy on the Great Spirit Longma is a kind of borderline combat character profile, right? But it's your level 4 wizard. So like you don't know if you necessarily want them in danger. Because they would be the only ones who could take this because it's arcane.
Well, you can take 2.
You can take 2?
2 Longmas is what I mean. You can also take 2 of this actually because it's a common magic item.
Common fuck.
Okay, so the next one, the Learned Feng Shi Bow, is only 15 points, and the owner of the Learned Feng Shi Bow knows 1 more spell chosen in the usual way than is normal for their level of wizardry.
Good God.
Okay, so that's pretty nice. You can know a lot of spells.
So you can, and it's common. Mm-hmm. So you can take your Cloak of Pomei and the Learned Feng Shi Bow. For 65 points, you now know 5 spells from your chosen lore. So that means you're probably getting all the ones you wanted from that. And then you're adding another 3. So you have 8 spells at your disposal. Mm-hmm. And somehow need to make sure you're not accidentally casting 8 spells a turn.
Well, you know the spells. You can't necessarily cast them. You only cast at your wizard level, right? Mm-hmm. But like it's situational. It gives you a toolbox. So I'd say looking at this, it feels like there isn't necessarily tons that benefits the whole army, but definitely your characters can be more survivable. They could do more output. They can engage more in the magic phase with options. You've got some nice terror causing stuff. I gotta say, access to the alchemist masks for 35 points. So the ability to do Plague of Rust on our little support characters, or from a lantern, feels really nice when we can just dip into getting like +1 strength into our army, or we've got cavalry that's charging in. So you've got a lot of supportive pieces in here as well.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not it's worth it for the unit. But that 3+ to not be targeted by a spell, also pretty wild. So I'd say there's a banner or 2 and 2 excellent arcane items. Very good, sir.
Now we're going to move on to the units, and they're obviously a limited roster, but you do, especially when you're looking at the Jade Sentinel, you get the option to really customize them. So Jade Warriors is a pretty human stat line in Strength and Toughness 3. Their leadership 8, which is quite nice, but obviously characters, you got even higher leadership. Move 4, obviously, and weapon skill 4. They come equipped base with hand weapon and heavy armor, which is nice. For a 5+ with a shield, that gives you a 4+, which is already a pretty nice start. You could take halberds as well if you wanted to, overtaking hand weapons. You can have a full command. A Jade officer can have 25 points of magic items. You can have drilled for only a pointer model. You can also have stubborn for 2 points a model, and you can have a magic standard worth up to 50 points. You close order, you've got defensive stance, which is a special rule where unless it charged during the preceding movement phase or counts as having charged at this turn, a unit of special rule may reroll armor save rolls of a natural 1 during the combat phase, which is nice on a 4+ save. They're also a regimental unit, and they've got the Will of the Dragons. Now, I don't think that there are any detachment units in this roster.
This one.
Is this a detachment? Oh, it's a regiment and a detachment, so you can have both. Yeah, you can have multiple. Okay, so you can have.
That's interesting. That's kind of interesting. Just having Yeah, that is. I don't know if we've seen that. If there must be ones like that. Yeah, obviously all the Empire ones. So
as an Empire man, an 8-point an Empire 8-point unit, you can have shields, so you can have 8 points for a toughness 3, 4-up armor save unit that can reroll ones if you want it to. If you'd like it to have drilled, it's going to cost you 9 points a dude. So they're not the cheapest. You obviously, if you do take these with the big dragon, you are going to be able to add +1 to your weapon skill, +1 to your leadership. So you're going to be weapon skill 5 and like leadership 9. Which is pretty strong. And also, obviously, you've got that spell to cast where you can add +1 to your strength as well, which is pretty nice. And I think that's also +1 to your weapon skill. I think there's a way to maybe get them up to like, I don't know, weapon skill 6, strength 4, which is pretty decent. What's your kind of take on this unit?
I like that they can have drilled for cheaper than stubborn for some reason, considering they only get to use stubborn once. So basically, to me, this is a 9-point. 9 points per model. Heavy infantry. Defensive stance is okay. I don't know. I don't know. Remains to be seen whether or not the shields do get that buff that was alluded to in some of the rumors. To have a parry save to make them even better as far as armor saves are concerned. But I mean, a drilled, core infantry unit at 9 points a model, it's feeling okay. It's not wildly. They're not wildly overpointed. At least they have, some rules. Yeah.
You can also get a 6-up ward. I don't remember now from if you take them as the dragon's unit. It's like +1 point a model.
Oh, that's right. That does give them a little bit extra. Yes,
gives them a little bit more. But yeah, infantry. We got to see what happens with infantry. But this is a good baseline. It really is.
Yeah. No, this feels like just a trooper. It's good. Yeah.
You got access to battle magic. You have 5-up ward save. You're fine. All right. So let's look at the Jade.
Actually,
Lancers.
no, sir, because you can't join. Well, no, I guess Miao Ying could be in the unit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they don't have anyone who can get in there.
Yeah, Miao Ying defo could though. Okay, Jade Lancers. Just take it. Do you want to take me through those?
Sure. Okay, so Jade Lancers are our cavalry core option. We've got weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 3, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 8. Very standard human. 20 points per model for that. Mm-hmm. And then the Jade officer who's mounted is plus 6 points to have that person. Jade Lancers have hand weapons, Cathayan lances, heavy armor, and shields. Okay, so, and then I assume they're on barded horses. So these guys are 3 up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 up. And then the Cathayan war horses, iron shod hooves, and barding. Great. Obviously, they have options for full command, magic standard up to 50 points. And then the Jade Lance officer may purchase magic items up to a total of 50 points. Did the Jade Lance officer have that option in the regular unit as well?
The ability to do what?
The champion. To buy magic items.
25 points, pretty certain. 25 points to do that, yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you might be able to, but 50 point allotment is a fair amount. And then we've got can have the ambusher special rule, the drilled special rule, and have the stubborn special rule. So for ambushers is 1 point, drilled is 1 point, and stubborn is 2 points. And then there's a rule Cathayan Cataphrax, which I assume is what is that rule?
The Cathayan Cataphract.
And Cathayan Cataphrax is when a unit in which the majority of the models have this special rule makes a follow-up move, the unit counts as having charged during the next turn.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So they even count as charging, even if you just get a pushback reaction, which is that's pretty good, especially when your lances trigger off of charging.
But your lances aren't as good as normal lances, though. Or they're kind of different. You're really encouraged to take 20, well, not 20, like 2 ranks of cav, right, in this situation. And I guess there's a bonus there for it.
And so, like, again, I'm just wondering, like, is, like an all cav core maybe make a lot of sense? Just because they just have better armor saves, and yeah, that's mostly it. But I guess they're double the cost. But they have double the output. I don't know. That's an interesting little trade-off there.
So next up, we get to talk about the artillery. This is where the army starts to shine. Hasn't started to shine yet.
No, it's been pretty lackluster so far. Hands up, a big round of applause for pretty normal core options, at least. That was great. I like that.
Very normal. So
Two fighting,
Cathay
two
Grand
ranks.
Cannon is 130 points.
Okay.
Cannon. There's not really much else to say. She's classic cannon with T6 and 3 wounds. The important part about this is it's strength 10, AP 3, armor bane 3, multi wounds D3 plus 1. And the special rule that it has is Grand Cannon special rules, Thunderous Impact. Until the start of your next start of turn subphase, any unit, friend or foe, that was within 2d6 inches of the strike point when the Cathayan Grand Cannon shoots suffers a -1 modifier to its movement.
Oh, jeez.
And cannot use the Swift Stride special rule. So you can just be like, that unit, I'm going to put it right next to it. You're like, oh, 10 from the back? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm going to land that bad boy.
So that is awesome. So from the strike point, so that is basically after you roll the artillery dice. And I just want to point out that you kind of glossed over the fact that this is a strength 10 cannon. So back to the way cannons used to be.
I wasn't trying to gloss over it. It's just I wanted to get to the other bit first. Like, we can come back to it if you want.
Yeah, that seems good. It seems very good.
It's really good. It's really good. And obviously now that we know we can turn off fly, now that we know that we can shut down Swift Stride potentially, although there's still some dice rolls involved to make it happen. Also, we haven't pointed out the fact that we don't have any engineers right now that are really helping our cannons be more reliable. So they are a little less reliable than other cannons. No, it's 135 points. Although we do have an Ogre loader for an additional 35 points.
I would like to say too that I really appreciate that the dwarves taught the Empire and the Bretonnians how to make Cathayan cannons and not Dwarven cannons, because those are way better.
Yeah.
So that was very kind of them to do that.
Thank you so much. That's very good. So the Ogre Artillery crew, which is 35 points, who can also take gunpowder bombs, have a couple of special rules. The first one, enough for everyone. If an Ogre loader is equipped with the gunpowder bombs, the crew of the War Machine also have the gunpowder bombs as well. So you can have quite a lot of gunpowder bombs, which is fun. And then you've got the Mercenary crew, where an Ogre loader is a special type of character that can be taken as an upgrade to accompany a Cathayan War Machine during deployment position. An Ogre loader and its War Machine as you would a character that's joined a unit. Once placed, an Ogre loader cannot leave. The crew of any War Machine joined by an Ogre loader gains +1 modifier to its movement characteristic and stubborn special rule. In addition, once per game, a fire rain rocket battery or Cathayan Grand Canyon cannon that includes an Ogre loader may fire twice during the shooting phase or re-roll a single artillery dice. So
all right.
So 35 points, baby. I just shoot twice, turn off your fly, shoot a third time.
Can I also just point out that you also get an Ogre? Can we see the stat line on him again?
Oh, the Ogre, yeah. He's T4. He's got 3 wounds. He's got 3 attacks. It's strength 4.
He's an Ogre. So and I'm pretty sure Ogres cost about 30 points.
Yeah. And also you can have a lot of bombs. You also get stubborn. And +1 to your move.
Yeah.
So your
very
army,
good.
So your army is now a Warriors of Chaos Undead Dwarf. I forget which other ones, but we're adding Chaos Dwarfs now.
Yeah. No, that's dope. And he's also cool as hell looking. Not gonna lie.
Super cool. Super cool. So that makes that a great cannon. That's also really good and can be very effective. Now, obviously, that's a 165-point package.
When do you choose whether or not you shoot twice or re-roll the dice?
An Ogre loader special. In addition, once per game. It doesn't say.
So you can that's just in your back pocket, and you can either shoot twice. I think you're always shooting twice. But yeah, awesome. Very cool. Is it just the black powder? I guess it's just there's no special chart for this thing. For the Great Grand Cannon?
No. What's really nice about this, I would say, is that also it means it's just like buying an engineer, but it's also not coming out of that section of my points. And I'm straight away just deploying it with it, and it's pretty tough, right? 3 wounds, stuff 4. Like,
is he an upgrade? Is he an upgrade to the? He's an upgrade to the
unit. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
That's good. Our other artillery piece is the Fire Rain rocket battery.
Okay.
So this is 130 points as well. Can also have an ogre loader, so you can get a shoot twice if you want it to.
Naturally. Yeah.
And then you're going to be able to shoot 2 types of rockets if you want
Okay.
to. Also, special rule down the bottom: any unit that suffers 1 or more unsaved wound from this weapon must make a panic test as if it had taken heavy casualties.
Okay. So these are Chaos Dwarf weapons.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, these are Chaos Dwarf weapons. Okay, cool.
So the first one, Bastion Rockets, is 12 to 48 inches. They're strength 4 or strength 5 in the hole, AP 1 or AP 3 in the hole, armor bane 1. They're cumbersome, move or shoot, and they do multiple wounds, D6. However, that obviously applies to a single model whose base lies underneath the hole, and it's a 3-inch blast template. The other version is strength 3 or 4, 4 in the hole, AP1, AP1, armor bane 1, and that has the Wailing Spirit special rule. So it's actually not both. So only this one has the Wailing Spirit special rule. This is a 5-inch blast template instead, and then you get the panic test if you want to. But you do get the choice to shoot between either one. Your choice.
Yeah, and like it doesn't accidentally blow up like the Hellstorm rocket battery. It's, I mean, for 130 points, I think obviously you're taking the cannon or a pair of the cannons. But yeah, this isn't awful. This isn't awful. And that, like, a 5-inch blast AP is strength 3, AP 1. Like, it has AP, as well as armor bane, as well as a strength 5 version of that can still rip D6 multiple wounds D6 if you get lucky. I mean, this is not bad. It's not bad, but it's no cannon.
It's no cannon. It's no cannon at all.
Here we go, guys. It's what we've all been wondering. What the hell is this thing about? It's the Sky Lantern. It is a strength and toughness 5, 7 wound chariot for 135 points.
That's so cheap.
Its base movement is 1. Okay, so that's important to note in the world of Falconhorns and such. And then they have some human dudes on board. And there's 4 gunners and a commander, or the champion who's also a champion, I guess. Is that what? That's weird. Anyway, it's on a new base, everybody. New base alert, 100 by 100 millimeter base. Armor value is 4+. And they are all equipped with hand weapons. And the options, we have the Lantern Gunners and Commander must take one of the following: Sky Lantern Crane Guns, for free, Iron Hail Guns and Gunpowder Bombs, free, Iron Hail Guns and Dragon Fire Bombs. If you're doing that, though, 20 points. May take Sky Lantern Bombs, which are special, 15 points. Lots of bombs here, 3 different varieties. We got Close Order, Disengage, Eye of the Dragon, Feign Flight, Fire and Flee, Fly 8, Heavenly Beacon, Impact Hits, D3 +1, only from the Sky Lantern. That's hilarious. Large Target, Reserve Move, Scouts, Unbreakable.
I'd like to point out that, like, the 135 points is sending me. I know we can do some upgrades, but that's crazy cheap for 7 wounds, 4 up save. Like, I'm okay with that. Also,
this is a mount, so it can easily be for like 45 more points or whatever it was. I think like it could be tough. Sorry, 9 wounds or 10 wounds, depending on how many wounds that character had.
He had 3.
He had 3. So yeah, 10 wounds. Cool. All right. What else?
You got special rules.
Eye of the Dragon. Friendly models whose weapons shoot using the bombardment special rule can shoot using this model's line of sight rather than their own. And it's a large target, so that is can see everything. So that means that you can hide your fire rain rocket batteries behind a piece of terrain and actually hit things, which is pretty fun and cool. Should this model lose a round of combat, it may attempt to disengage.
This is the disengage rule, right?
Oh, sorry, this is disengage, yes. It may attempt to disengage by making a leadership test. If this test is passed, this model may fall back in good order rather than give ground. Enemy units can follow up as if this model had given ground, moving 2 inches directly towards this model but cannot pursue it. However, if this test is failed, this model is unable to disengage and must give ground as normal. In addition, should it win a round of combat, this model may choose to fall back in good order rather than making a follow-up or pursuit move.
So
Get out of dodge.
I really like that they're like messing around with like, well, this unit gets to do a fallback in good order, but the other unit is only going to do like a give ground. It gives like 2 outcomes or multiple outcomes, right? Like that we saw with the Lancers as well. I think that like messing with that sort of order activation is quite fun for certain units. Every unit, I'd probably put question marks around it. Again, 35 points to just kind of like get out of dodge, right? Feels pretty nice. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to the next page and look at the kind of equipment, and then we can really start to put this bad boy together.
Oh, well, we're not even looking at equipment yet. We still have Heavenly Beacon. Unless this model is fleeing, friendliness within 12 inches of it may reroll any failed panic or rally test. So it's a DSP.
At this point, everything can reroll every type of test.
Yes. Yeah. These guys ain't running away. These guys ain't scared. In addition, whilst this model is on the battlefield, unless it's fleeing, you may apply a +1 or -1 modifier to the result when rolling to determine if a friendly unit with the Ambusher special rule that is currently held in reserves arrives this turn as reinforcements or is delayed. Finally, just in case, a large magistrate or strategist mounted on a sky lantern has a command range of 12 inches. Oh, okay. So they cap their command range because normally it would be 18 inches for being on a large target.
That's still good, though. 12 inches is still fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. 12 inches, it's fine. On a 100 by 100 base, too. If this model is equipped with Sky Lantern bombs, it may perform a bombing run attack against a single enemy unit that is not engaged in combat. To do so, this model must move within 6 inches of the unit it wishes to attack during the remaining move subphase. Once this model's movement is complete, roll on the bombing run table below. So they don't have to pass over the unit. They just have to get danger close. So 1 is bad. Release mechanism jam. Bomb explodes. This model loses a single wound. Womp womp. Who cares? Solitary bomb is released but fails to detonate before landing squarely upon the head of an unfortunate enemy. Enemy unit loses a single wound. Just loses it. That's on a dud. That's a 2. So on a 3+, though, we get a direct hit. 3 to 4. A cluster of bombs lands directly on target. Place a large 5-inch blast template so the central hole is directly over the center of the enemy unit. Once placed, the template will scatter d6 inches. Any model whose base lies underneath the template final position risks being hit and suffering a single strength 5 hit with an AP of -2. Okay, so there's a lot going on there, but you might get some strength 5 AP2 hits, but there's still a really good version of this apparently. 5 through 6, bombs away. A cluster of bombs is released, falling over a wide area. Place 2 small 3-inch blast templates so that their central hole is over the enemy unit. Once placed, each template will scatter d6. Any model whose base lies underneath the template's final position risks being hit and suffering a single strength 5 hit with an AP of -2. Okay. This is if
that's just a cheap upgrade for the unit, right? Like
15 points.
15 points. This is just like you're not paying to get this, but you've got all the other rules. And then you're like, you know what? 15 points. I'll occasionally drop some templates on some stuff. Maybe I'll chip off some damage.
Maybe. I'm exhausted. You do the Iron Hail gun.
The Iron Hail gun is 12-inch. So this is what you're able to take for free, along with the gunpowder bombs. And also, you got the crane gun, which is also free. So this is just 12-inch, strength 3, AP1, move and shoot, multiple shots D3. One line with the Iron Hail gun, suffers no negative modifiers for firing at long range, for using multiple shots D3, or whilst making standard shoot reactions. So it's just all the reasons that you suffer minuses, really.
So this gives it a stand and shoot defense, and it can also, by the way, guys, fire and flee.
It can fire and flee, and then
it doesn't have swift stride, right?
Let me go find out for you. It's fire and flee. It does not have it. It has it does have reserve move though.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Do you want to tell people why?
So that would allow it to move within 6 inches of something, and then after it's done all of its shooting, including this massive Iron Hail confabulation, it would be able to then move again. It would be able to move after it's done its shooting, and it's 8 inches, potentially +1. I assume it has the dragon, Will of the Dragon or whatever.
It does not have the Will of the Dragon.
Oh, it doesn't.
But it is a skirmisher, right? I'm pretty certain.
No, it's a heavy chariot.
Okay, all right. So it's not quite as... Is it pivotable? Are you going to be able to go in and out of stuff with that movement? We'll have to get on the table, find out. And you got the Sky Lantern Crane Gun, which is 36 inches, strength 6, AP 2, armor bane 2, and it's cumbersome. And obviously this can be a mount as well. And that the Crane Gun you get for free. The Lantern Gunners and the Command. So may take one of the following. So if you want, you can have 5 of those crane guns, which is 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 2, armor bane 2. So they're kind of like Usbati.
Ballistic skill of?
Ballistic skill is 4 and 5. 4 for the gunners,
Yowzer.
5 for the commander.
So normally that would be like with no penalties to hit. You're hitting on 3s. They're probably going to be long range, so probably hitting on 4s. But we are a large target, of course, so we're ignoring intervening units, so they're not getting cover. Both those options seem interesting. I guess it's a question of whether or not you want to be aggressive with your floating balloon guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess
which is kind of funny. I never expected it to have like an offensive application.
I like the idea that because 135 points is pretty cheap. 150 points if you want to take 150 points if you want to take it with bombs, and then maybe you'll take the short range guns, and then you just keep running forward. Run forward, drop a bomb, shoot your little short range guns, reserve move away, keep doing that, and do that with multiple balloons. All of a sudden, you've got yourself a sweet ass gyro bomber list.
Yeah, right.
So that's pretty cool. That's cool. What do you think of this unit overall? Support, output, maneuverability. What's not to love?
Yeah, no, it's and it looks cool. And also, of course, you can put a dude on it. It's a character mount, and all the buffs that that character provides. So yeah, very good.
So last up, we've got the Cathayan Sentinel. This massive monster is 230 points, leadership 10. It's movement 6, weapon skill 5, strength 6, toughness 6 with 6 wounds. Now, it only has 3 attacks, but we're going to talk about this. It has heavy armor on that tough 5. So this might be our first unit that is killable in the army, which is fun. Now, you can upgrade it. Terracotta Sentinel, straight free. Or do I want a Jade Sentinel? It's 20 points. Obsidian, 25 points. Granite, 35 points. Warpstone, 40 points. We'll talk about those options in a minute. It's got Close Order. It's immune to psychology. It's implacable. It's a large target. It has Stomp attacks, D3+1. Causes terror. It has timber, so it's like a big old giant. And it is unbreakable. So you're going to have to kill this bad boy. So Implacable is a special rule where once per game during a turn in which it was charged, this model may choose to not give ground should it lose a round of combat. In addition, once per game, this model may re-roll its charge roll.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice. In combat, it's got either the Scything Blow or the Deadly Strike. This weapon has 2 profiles, represent different ways it can be used in combat. You must choose which profile the wielder will use at the start of each round of combat.
Okay.
Okay. So it's either got Strength as user, which is Strength 6, AP 2, Armor Bane 1, extra attacks 2d3. So you're potentially going to get 9 attacks. But this is going to be Strike last. The other version, Deadly Strike, is Strength +1, so Strength 7, AP 4, with Killing Blow, Monster Slayer, and it does multiple wounds D3. And again, like the rest of the roster, it has this opportunity to be either or, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to do a lot of
Yin
attacks?
and yang, if you will.
You could say yin or yang, for sure. Although I would like to see this on other units. I think the hyper-specialization of units means that they become slightly less usable, right? So already great stats, but let's see how we can improve it, because it's like a giant chaos spawn, right? So if we take the Terracotta Sentinel, it just has regen 6+. So that's fine, that's free. Jade Sentinel knows a single spell chosen by the controlling player before armies are deployed. Chosen. Either from battle magic, elementalism, law of magic, and it may cast a spell with a bound power level of 3.
Battle magic or elementalism, it may cast a spell. Just choose. Did we not learn? Did we not learn from Wood Elves about this, guys? Did we not learn the lesson?
Cheeky fireball. That's fine. That's not
cheeky
bad.
Fireball, Pillar of Fire. Although I guess we're assuming Pillar of Fire gets some sort of a nerf.
We're assuming it gets nerfed. But I don't mind having 2 of these with two fireballs, just throwing them around.
Just shooting fireballs. All right, cool. But there's 2 others. So what else?
Three others. The Obsidian
There's 3
Sentinel.
others?
Yeah. I like this, by the way. I think this is great. This is how you should do stuff in your one. Obsidian Sentinel. An Obsidian Sentinel has a magic res 2. In addition, an enemy wizard that wishes to cast a spell whilst within 12 inches of one or more of these sentinels must make a leadership test. If this test is failed, the wizard casting roll is -3. If the test is passed, the wizard casting roll is just -1. Obviously, you can double that up with the miscasting item to really build like an anti-magic deck in here. It's kind of fun.
Yep.
The Granite Sentinel improves the armor value by 1, so that'll be a 4-up. In addition, a Granite Sentinel is immune to multiple wounds X special rule. If a Granite Sentinel suffers an unsaved wound from an attack with a special rule, it loses only a single wound.
Okay.
Very nice, especially with its output being pretty good.
Cannonball proof as well.
And the most expensive version, the Warpstone Sentinel, has magic attack special rule. In addition, while it's in base contact with one or more Warpstone Sentinel, when an enemy unit is in contact with a Warpstone Sentinel, enemy units suffer -1 modifier to their toughness characteristic to a minimum of 1. So you can go in, be in combat with a unit, and make them -1 toughness.
I'm feeling like my Sentinel will be colored Jade.
Jade. So that Jade Sentinel, I think, is going to cost you 20 points. So that's going to make it a 250 points, which means you can get 2 of those in 2,000 points.
You could get double Jades, and then like between battle, you get to pick between battle magic and elementalism, which is good. We know this is good. They can be, that seems good. I like it. He's just a good monster. I don't know if he's overwhelmingly good, but he's a good monster. You're paying for him too.
Yeah, listen.
Unlike everything else in this book,
he's not a Ragnarok. So, and arguably killable. So
certainly killable.
So, I mean, also a great points denial unit if you think about it, because when you've got the dragon already that maybe can't die, then I put 500 points in a Cathayan Sentinel that maybe can't die. Now, really, maybe are you getting 1,000 points out of my army? You'll have to find out. So
the Sentinels, those Sentinels are definitely far more killable than any of the other options listed there.
So what do you think of the book overall? It's a happy birthday to you again. Let's remind everyone.
Happy birthday. 20,000 subs and a happy birthday. We didn't even talk about 20,000 subs. Thank you, everybody. Wow. Right? I think it definitely passed the not boring check. And all of, aside from the core, when I'm trying to imagine what this army looks like on the table at this exact moment, it's kind of looking like what? Like a couple of characters, maybe a brick of the cavalry, maybe, maybe a couple sentinels. It's kind of thin on the table. But man, there's a lot of rules packed onto each one of those units and lots of fun things that you can do. So it's very exciting. I'm not going to lie, very exciting. And also a bit of a flex again on that rules design stuff. There's a lot of imagination in these rules. There's a lot of effort that went into them. And yes, I think they did get a lot of them, and they are a little bit perhaps cooked compared to some of the other armies out there. But aside from Miao Ying, I think probably pointed okay. I know you feel very strongly about the Longma. But
yeah, I would say number one, I agree on the game design aspect. I think while obviously of the 2 writers that we have, the one that is allowed to just go, absolutely chains off, went for it. And also, let's just be really clear. I think this also feels very strong. Obviously, you got to get on the table and make it play and see how it works. But it does feel strong. It's got lots of options. I would not disagree with you, but I'd say one of the interesting things here is actually I see different lists across this, like double Longma.
Could be.
Sure, the dragon's also really, really strong, but you could just take a bunch of characters, your level 4, a bunch of little units, then you could go really, really artillery heavy, then I can go really balloon heavy. We know that you can bring a Sentinel into special as well, so you could see maybe 3 Sentinels in here, which is pretty wild. So you could also do that. So that's a lot of options from limited roster. And actually, maybe a great question should be, is the limited roster a real strength for the game designers? Do they not get lost in the weeds of another infantry unit, I got to work out what they do? Or, from the ground up, they got to be okay, we get to really give you all the units that have a very unique identity straight off the bat when we release them. I think that's a really nice place, you know, instead of like grandfathering in these units that did previously exist. And this is our first example of what the future of the old world will look like. And it's a lot of rules and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, well, they had to fill the pages, and they did. They didn't have a lot of units, right? So like they just definitely they made sure that every unit got them, like multiple units with multiple pages of rules is a heck of a place to start from. I'm also just thinking in my head that like so like the Grand Cannon with an Ogre loader, what is that, 150 points?
150 points, yeah.
So you can do 450. You can get to 900 points, and you could shoot 12 cannon shots in one turn.
Yeah, you can. And everything in the enemy army probably can't swift stride.
Probably can't swift stride. Like that's
turn off fly with a banner.
All the people out there are like, well, you can't. You know, like you know, there's not enough cannons in the old world to take down a Chaos Lord on Dragon. Well, now there might be.
I got to say, I think it does feel like there's a lot of stuff here. But with the Arcane Journal on the way, more stuff to come, updates. We've got the match play book to look at. There's so much more exciting stuff to talk about in the old world. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments below. Of course, also, thank you to everyone on the Squarebase Patreon. It helps us do this. I hope you enjoyed it. I have my first 500 point event that I'm running in like 3 days. So
that's so exciting. And man, people are popping off and so pumped for it. I can't wait to hear what comes out of that.
Yeah, so and you've got the S-Bot, you've got the S-Bot online. So like Old World is so currently active and there's so much happening. So all this news dropping is super exciting. So I hope you all enjoy finding out about a bunch of that news here. We appreciate you all. And Val, anything before we go?
Well, just that, once again, Squarebase Open Toronto. Tickets on sale now. You can see them in the drop down below, and you can see all the details. Come visit Toronto in October. It's beautiful. There'll be lots of Cathayan armies to see.
Maybe thank God they didn't make enough battalion boxes. That's all I can say. See you all soon. Goodbye.